The worst part of a vacation, at least for me, was the day you leave and the day you come home. And it's the time of year where we feel like that's happening to all of us. I think whether maybe we're in school or we're not, it seems like the slower time of year is ending and everything's ramping up again. But I remember coming home from vacation, and when you come home from vacation, normally, if you're like our family, you go straight home. You don't stop. It's not like a whole longer vacation. We just wanted to get home, or my dad just wanted us to get home. But one day, he softened up and he said, we'll stop. And he stopped at a place that we wanted to stop at, but a place we never went to, which is a buffet. And it was called a Sizzlin'. Do you remember the Sizzler, Western Sizzlers or whatever? Terrible place. Too many options, especially for little kids. And this is a time we're all sitting in one Oldsmobile. There were 6 of us in that car, 3 in the front seat and 3 in the back. Probably illegal, but whatever. So we were driving and we stopped and we got to this Sizzler. And it was one of those, it wasn't like a full buffet, but it was like everything but the dinner buffet. And so I'm sure we ordered dinner, but what did all the kids get first? The dessert, right? You go and you get, and I don't know how we were allowed to do this, but because it never happened. So we went and I got a bowl of pudding, like a bowl of chocolate pudding because it looked so good. And my dad said, do not get that again. So what did I do? More chocolate pudding. It looked so good. And then I went back a 3rd time. And then I got dinner. And then I went back a 4th time. And then I started to feel a little sick. And then we went into the car. And then I got sick in the Oldsmobile with 6 of us crammed in. And what a disaster. What a complete disaster. And to say my dad was angry is, a mild statement. We never stopped at another Sizzler again. Don't ever go to a Sizzler. I don't even think they exist anymore, probably for that reason. Chocolate pudding's terrible. Whatever. That buffet that sat before us, that looks so beautiful, does damage. But when I went and I blamed that chocolate pudding for my problems, what did my parents say? No. It was your fault. I don't want to hear it. I didn't like to accept responsibility that I ate too much of that chocolate pudding. If I can repeat it again, do not eat 4 bowls of chocolate pudding, especially if you're at the Sizzler. But anyway, it's not the food's fault. The food is an inanimate object. Everything on that buffet was good on some level. Probably not nutritious, but it had some kind of nutrition. But it wasn't that food's fault that I got sick. I made the decision to overeat. And so that's what Jesus is talking about in the gospel today. When he says, there's nothing from outside that defiles us. Yeah, there's lots of evil stuff out there, and there's lots of neutral stuff. But that's not what makes us sin. We make the choice to sin. It is not evil in us until we bring it into us, and we accept it, and we commit sin. And why is that important to know? Why is Jesus trying to drill that in us? He's telling us that we need to accept responsibility for sin. We are so, and especially now when the world is so crazy, we are so used to saying it was their fault. They made me do it. And as Catholics, as we are told to live, and we try to live a good life, and we see so much nonsense going on, we are so quick to say, but them. No, Jesus is saying, but us. We have to accept responsibility. And why is that? Because if we don't accept responsibility, if we're constantly blaming somebody else, how could we need a Savior? How could we possibly need a Savior if it's always somebody else's fault and not ours? But brothers and sisters, that's why we're here. There is no other reason to be here except to get off what we have on us, which is sinfulness. And we all have it. People will say, Catholics, you got to be perfect. Well, we strive for that. We hear in the first reading that the Jewish people, the way they stayed in a relationship with God was perfectly following the commandments. And if they didn't, they fell out of relationship with God, period. But we know it's different for us. We know that when we fall out of line, which all of us do, when all of us sin, if we truly acknowledge that we sin, we take responsibility for it, then Jesus, in his mercy, allows us to get back into relationship with him. We are never fully out of relationship with him if we always desire to come back. And that's the difference that Jesus Christ has given us. But that can't come from inside of us. We can't heal ourselves. In the second reading says, all good, that was too loud, all good and every perfect gift, every healing gift is from above. It is not from inside of us. We can't heal ourselves. We need a Savior. That is why we are here. We wonder why people don't come to Mass. It's because, perhaps, people don't think they need a Savior. People don't think they sin. That is why Jesus tells us today all those things that he lists: licentiousness, greed, unchastity, everything that he listed there. And maybe some of them hit home with us. I know they hit home with me. Because all those things are sins, and we need healed from them. We don't have to ask the question, why don't people come to Mass? The question is, why do we come to Mass? Why do we come to the sacraments? Because we need healing. We need a Savior. And this is where we are saved. When we receive Holy Communion, when we go to confession. We need a Savior, brothers and sisters. And who we receive today, who we receive in the confessional, is the one who saves us. Nothing else, nobody else, nothing outside of us can save us unless it is from God. That is why we are here today, brothers and sisters, and that is why we rejoice in our faith. What a great faith we have, brothers and sisters, in Jesus Christ, who alone saves us.